We start with breaking news, and Israeli media is reporting that at least 4 people have been killed in a shooting in Jerusalem. Israeli paramedics say 15 were injured in the attack. 6 of them are in a serious condition. And police have said that the attackers have been neutralized. The shooting took place at a major intersection at the northern entrance to Jerusalem on a road that leads to Jewish settlements located in East Jerusalem. Let's bring in now our Middle East correspondent, Adam Parsons, who joins us. Adam, bring us up to speed with the latest as you understand it.
Yeah, so this attack happened this morning. The first reports came in at 10:13 a.m. here in Jerusalem, so that's about 8:15 your time. The reports came in from that area, from Ramot Junction, and this is saying about 15 casualties. Obviously, there was a response to that, a very significant response in terms of ambulances, military, and police. And what became clear was that there were people who were critically injured. The first report said 15 people had been injured and that the 2 attackers had been neutralized. That is a word that we assume to take had been killed. But in the past few minutes, a spokesperson has said that after examining all of the victims, have pronounced the death of 4 people, including, they say, a man aged about 50 years old and 3 men aged around 30. They say they're providing treatment and evacuating 5 casualties who are in serious condition with gunshot wounds to hospitals in Jerusalem. There are other people who are suffering less severe injuries. Some of those are to do with being hit by shards of glass. As you would imagine, a scene of A, some confusion, and B, chaos around the scene. It's very, very hard now to get anywhere near Ramot Junction, as you might imagine. We're trying to get there to get a better understanding of what happened. It's an area to the northwest of Jerusalem, so it's more on the outskirts of the city. But images and film that we've seen so far, you can see people fleeing from the scene. I've seen images of a bus which has been smashed up. But in terms of the actual specifics of who the shooters were, where they were, why they picked that spot, and how the attack was perpetrated, at the moment, that is still hazy. The information around that, it can be somewhat contradictory. But I think that a few things to say is, number one, clearly 4 people being killed in this attack will send shockwaves around, particularly in this happening in Jerusalem. Things like this are not uncommon, clearly, around Israel, but they are relatively uncommon in Jerusalem. If it does turn out to be a clash between settlers and Palestinians, then that will add fuel to what is already a very tense conflict between those 2 groups. We've seen a lot of tension in the West Bank involving Israeli settlers. These are people who are setting up small outposts or in communities in land in the West Bank. So it will further heighten tension at a time when particularly a couple of far-right politicians within the cabinet of Benjamin Netanyahu who've been using uncompromising rhetoric. That has certainly inflamed tensions, but we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves until we have more information. The top line being that 4 people are confirmed to have died, and the 2 attackers said to have been neutralized.
As you mentioned there, Adam, clearly there's all sorts of violence in and around Israel and further afield in the region in recent years. But what will be the reaction in Jerusalem, do you think, to this event happening there?
I think that people in Jerusalem will be shocked by it. And this is a complicated, as everyone knows, complex city divided between East and West Jerusalem, a city that which has a cultural history of combination of religious sanctity and violent takeover. This was a city that was divided for many years between East and West, between Palestinian controlled East Jerusalem and the Israeli controlled West Jerusalem. And a city that knew violence, that knew bus attacks, and to an extent, that is why an enormous wall was built to separate Jerusalem from the West Bank. And there are many in Jerusalem who believe that that's what they consider a security wall, which others consider to be illegal under international law. It is one of the reasons that Jerusalem has, compared to, let's say, Tel Aviv, has suffered much less violence in recent times. The missiles that rained down from Iran on Tel Aviv didn't land on Jerusalem. So in the minds of many, this is a city that you simply don't attack because of the number of holy places around it. So I think it will shock people. There is a feeling within Jerusalem that this is a very safe city. Now, this attack was not carried out in the heart of Jerusalem, but it's not a huge geographical city. It's not far from where I am in the middle of Jerusalem, up to Ramat Junction, where this attack happened. So I have no doubt that this will shake a lot of people here in Jerusalem.
And we're just looking at live pictures again now, Adam, as opposed to latest pictures of the scene. We're getting a bit more detail as well coming through in terms of the two shooters that, of course, we do believe, based on comments from the police there, that they were neutralised. I guess it will remain until full investigations are carried out as to what any motives or those details are.
Yes, and I think particularly in this city, in this country, it is wise to wait until we have the facts before we start leaping to any conclusions. This, as we said, this is not impossible to imagine. There have been other attacks before. There was one I think a couple of years ago, but this will shock people. And already there were people talking about settlers being involved. As I said, I think we'll wait. When we get the facts, I think then we and no doubt the rest of Israel will start to come to a conclusion about who did this, why they did it, and what the ramifications of that are.
And for now, thanks so much. And we'll just also bring you this latest statement coming out of the ambulance service, who's saying, after conducting medical examinations, paramedics pronounced the deaths of 4 victims, including a man about 50 years old and 3 men around 30 years old. They're providing medical treatment and evacuating 5 casualties in serious condition with gunshot wounds to hospitals in Jerusalem. Several people with minor injuries from glass shards are also being treated at the scene. Updates to follow. So that's the latest on the situation there. We'll have more for you when we have it.